Hello and welcome to this video. Today I'm going to be sharing our process to buy, renovate and then rent a marina studio at a very high ROI. This was the 9% marina studio case study. So this is a property I actually own and I actually worked on to get this high ROI. I'm a private investor. I'm not an agent. I don't have an agency. So I am keen to share my property knowledge through my website, that's propertyadvice.ae, and eventually offer coaching, consultancy, and so on. Now, here we're going to look at how to buy, renovate, and rent at that high price. We're going to overview the full process required, the full process we went through to actually do it for real, and answer some key questions along the way, which I'm sure you will have. Finally, I'm going to show you how you could potentially repeat this, and you can use this video actually as a lot of insight into how to do something like this. Now, I'm going to get straight to the point here, and these are our final calculations. For this particular studio unit, we purchased it for 690,000 dirhams. We paid 46,870 in buying fees, so agency fees, DLD fees, etc. We also spent just 10,256 renovating and furnishing it. So our total upfront cost was a smidge over 750,000 dirhams. The income on the other side, we were able to get an annual rent of 75,000 dirhams. This is payable by multiple checks, but it is an annual rent contract with an Ijari. The annual service charge is 6,590 dirhams, and the annual maintenance we've estimated it at 1,000 dirhams. At the end of the day, it's a small studio and all the work initially was done. Total annual income then brings it to 67,410 dirhams, which equates to a true ROI of 9%. That is a fantastic return on a relatively small upfront cost, especially in a location like the marina. So it's important to bear in mind how I calculate ROI might be different to how most agents or agencies or promotions trying to calculate ROI. I look at every possible cost and combine them into one total upfront cost. So I include the buying fees, I include the renovations in that total upfront cost. And then on the income side, we deduct the service charge and maintenance before we use the income to generate this figure. So if this was an agent telling you about this process, they would probably say this is like 11 or 12% ROI. But this figure is important because this would beat most investment funds or simple investment funds, ETF investing, things like that. And it will certainly beat any bank account. So if you have an amount of money that you want to invest in property in Dubai, this is probably one of the best return options. Now, you might be wondering why a studio and why in Dubai Marina? Well, Dubai Marina needs no introduction, really. If you live here or you visited, you'll know that this is one of the top areas in Dubai where everyone wants to live, at least for a short time. It's got tons of hotels, tons of attractions, marina itself, JBR, and from my point of view, looking for long-term tenants in studios and the lower end of the market studios as well, these people are probably going to be working either in or around the marina. They may not have cars, so they'll be relying on things like the tram and the metro, which are perfect in the marina for easy commutes. If you've ever driven in the marina, you'll know the traffic is not very fun. So those aren't our target audience, really. We are looking for professionals that are working in Media City, Internet City, to rent this unit on a long-term basis. So they will have different priorities to a tourist coming for a few days. There's also loads of transactions in Dubai Marina. This is from Property Finder. You can see 1,000 rents in the last year, and these are all long-term proper contracts. So these aren't Airbnbs, of course, but the typical average rent for a new studio, as in a new rental contract, is an average of 71. We were able to get 75 for hours. That doesn't include any bills, by the way. That is a regular rent type contract, and the renewals are usually lower. In this case, they're about 10,000 lower. But the key thing is there is always people looking to rent long-term in Dubai Marina, even studio apartments. So location, 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 of course, is very important. Dubai Marina doesn't have that much space for new projects, and any new projects that open are going to be far more expensive than what's already available. There's good connectivity. It is one of those places people just want to live or stay at some point in their experience of Dubai. And yeah, there's really no need to introduce the location for the marina. The building we picked was specifically nearby one of the metro and tram stations, and that's one of the Marina Diamond buildings. The smaller the better. Well, generally, studios and one bedrooms generate the best investor ROI anyway, compared to larger units such as 2 and 3 bedroom apartments, villas, etc., especially in desirable areas too. So studios and one bedrooms are cheaper to run. They have smaller service charges because they're physically smaller. They're going to have cheaper maintenance and even cheaper furniture costs as well if you're planning to furnish your unit, which you should definitely do. And finally, old is gold. Now, in the marina, there are some buildings that are older, such as Marina Diamond's buildings, various other towers in certain parts of it. Some of these buildings don't have the best reputation, but that is simply because of their age, and some landlords are pretty lazy in terms of renovating and keeping up their own property. If you put that effort in to actually make your unit in one of these buildings stand out well, the tenants will respect it. It is the best value in the marina per square foot, and with a little bit of effort, the tenants will really appreciate that. Would a tenant pay double just to get a new building? Probably not, especially if they're sticking to smaller units because they're trying to save money, or they're sick of living in a shared apartment and they finally want their own space. They want those nice finishes, but they don't necessarily need the building to be the most fashionable building in the area. So how did we do it? Here is the initial investment list again, and these are some pictures of the actual unit that we found on Property Finder back in December. You'll notice that actually it was semi-refurbished already. In fact, this used to be an Airbnb. It had a sofa bed, which could sleep two, and a large bed here as well, which could sleep two. The kitchen was pretty new, actually, and even the appliances were quite new. The bathroom was already done fairly well. The layout, though, wasn't really that pleasant, especially with some of this older, random collected furniture. The TV position I still don't really understand because there's no way to watch it. The outside space was pretty simple. There wasn't much effort put into this, to be honest, and it wasn't performing that well as an Airbnb, but to be honest, I could have also figured that out even before buying it. Cash was king. We managed to get the purchase price down from an asking price of 740,000 to just 690,000 because we were able to understand the seller's requirements, to understand that this has actually been on the market for some time, that it probably wasn't that attractive to others because not many people were willing to kind of re-renovate it. And we ended up getting 50,000 dirhams off in terms of the price. The buying fees, 46,000. There were a couple hidden fees, such as the conveyancing fee from the agency. That agency wasn't Engel and Volkers, by the way. That was a different agency. But still, there are some hidden fees that you need to be aware of, and I will have obviously resources to help you along with that as well. Renovation cost, we kept pretty low, and I'm going to show you on the next slide what exactly we did with that. But it's important to consider the seller's point of view. These are investment properties. They're not living in them themselves. A lot of these sellers are actually out of Dubai. And when it comes to selling, they're going through quite a difficult process to arrange this. So if you're flexible in terms of how to pay, especially in cash, or how you can arrange to meet the seller, to present yourself professionally, having a clear plan in place for the property so that the agent can put forward your case, you are going to get those discounts. It is quite easy to actually get at least sort of 5% off the price quite quickly in any listings that you find. So do consider that usually when an investor is trying to leave the market, they are open to negotiation. Pretty much any price you see on Property Finder can be reduced by at least 20,000 dirhams. Now, what I did as soon as we bought it, in fact, a little bit before we bought it, I developed a CAD model. Now, I do this myself professionally anyway, but if you are able to at least do a drawing or start planning ahead of time, you can get your project done quicker. So the benefits of CAD here is that we could test the layouts. We actually figured out that the current layout was still the best option, but we did want to improve storage to add more wardrobes. We wanted to add some shoe cabinets. We wanted to create a storage bed, so replace pretty much every piece of furniture in there, mount the TV here, add a little dining and living area. So I was able to do that on the CAD to save a lot of time and money. And so as soon as we got the keys, we were already on our way to making this project. Here is how it looks once we had finished. So we stuck to neutral tones. We got brand new furniture. We used those clever storage space saving elements like the storage bed, the shoe cabinets that double up as a bit of an entryway. We separated the spaces, and this is some of the things that our tenants really liked, is that they, even though it's a small apartment, there was a specific space for sleeping, a specific place for living, a garden area, and we did present the property as best as we could. You'll notice actually a lot of these features, such as the bedding, a few little decorative elements, some of the plants and stuff, those weren't included in the rent. They are just there to help sell the property when it comes to rent it. Other features like the clothes drying rack, I deliberately put that there just to remind any viewing tenants that they can dry their clothes on the balcony, and studios don't always come with balconies. So this was a benefit of this unit that was highlighted by a simple piece of furniture and a bit of thought in advance. So just keeping a nice layout with some clever pieces of design, which don't have to be expensive, you will get the attention of a lot of tenants. And notice that so far I've not shown you anything else to do with the building. There is a pool in this building, there's a gym in this building, everything is as expected, but the main thing they're going to be looking at is your unit itself. We've also added a few carpets, partly to hide bad bits of tile work, but also to make the whole place look so much more homey. You might think that's a bit crazy, the tenants are never going to look after your carpets. Well, these carpets aren't expensive. They can easily be replaced even every year if needed, and it is just so much nicer than it was before. I'll show you a quick video where we talk about the income calculations here as well, and that whole process of renting this place out. Now, interestingly, we got the original sales agent to also list it, and they were from Provident. They have a great videographer who did this lovely video as part of their kind of listing process. Interestingly, though, the tenant I eventually found just on Facebook. So people were looking for these studios. I sent him some of the images, arranged viewings, and did all of my own contracts, saving the tenant quite a lot of money, but also translating that into a great return and process for us. I would always recommend that you get at least 2 agents to market your property, because you're doubling the amount of exposure it gets, doubling the amount of chance for viewings, and also pits the agents against each other a little bit, so that they're always going to be aiming to get you that sale. Your own promotion is going to be valuable here, and as you can see, we did manage to get a really high rent. Typically, the rents expected there were in the region of 60,000, which would have still been a great return, by the way, but just with a little bit of effort, we managed to push that up to 75. Now, what did I learn from this whole process? Well, I learned firstly that your effort will always be rewarded. Initially, agents told us that there's no point in renovating it further, that we would get a decent return anyway. But we went against this and put a lot of effort into the finish. I'm genuinely proud of what we managed to achieve there. And I think the tenants that came to view it, they were very impressed with the finish, and they really liked what we'd done. It wasn't for everyone, but we were getting a number of high offers, and people were commenting on how nicely it was finished and designed, and that they were willing to actually offer above the market price. Tenants really do value that finish and the quality. We didn't spend a whole lot of money on the furniture, but I think it's partly to do with the styles of furniture that we picked and how we laid it out, and we thought about it in advance. to really benefit the people that would be living and working from these units. They're not just tourists. We were getting those high offers from 8 to 9%. We eventually settled on one that got us the full 9%. They were willing to pay extra for the finish. It wasn't 100% perfect, but it stood out from the rest. There were other units that were also furnished in that same building, much the same size and layout and everything. And those were still trying to get rented whilst we bought, renovated, and rented ours for an even higher price. So whatever we did here certainly works. So this method is proven and repeatable, and we took the risk on initially, but we would totally do it again. In fact, we already are doing it again. We've bought another unit that we're going to be doing the same process with. We will see what happens long term, but knowing this apartment will continue to generate us excellent results and pay for itself in around 11 years, it has been a fantastic result. I'm currently putting together a course on much more detail of how I went through this whole process, how to find units like this, first of all, then how to renovate them, how to deal with agents, how to negotiate, how to make your own contracts and promote your property on your own. It's surprisingly straightforward, and actually Dubai is such a good place to do property investment because all of the processes are fast. We managed to do this entire project from start to finish in about 4 or 5 weeks, and the last 2 weeks the property was actually ready and just being marketed. We even took a holiday for a week in the beginning as soon as we'd bought it. It was part of our winter break. So we didn't actually spend that much time ourselves fixing it up, but this time we did spend, we did put a lot of effort in, and that was rewarded. Now we've got a unit that's going to pay for itself in around 11 years. It's easy to market, it's easy to find tenants for, and it's been a overall successful project. Let me know if you're interested, because I can offer personal consultation and advice as well. And have a look in the links in the description for my other videos, useful calculators, and all the resources on propertyadvice.ae. Good luck on your property journey, and I'll see you next time.